I'm good. Decided to come on today, to have a discussion about Independence Day and are we really free? Because a lot of people, Rick, they're in what's called indentured servitude. So as people run around in America, spending money, popping fireworks, going to the store, cooking out, celebrating. What are you celebrating? Not trying to take away anything from your comments, just 250 years of indentured servitude being celebrated. Don't get me wrong, slaves from Africa, they've been indentured servitude for 400 years. Yeah, I see. Yes, it has, because I'm always thinking back on every country, and I've been to 27 countries now. You know, lived in four. So you're always reflecting because there are other countries that I plan to visit this year. Just basically doing a lot of work. Um, you know, most people know or don't know that I am a lawyer. I sue collection agencies for harassing people. And, as I'm thinking sometimes when I'm talking to someone on the phone, they always ask me, how long are you going to stay here? Be careful, Rick. You tell that to some passport bros down in Pattaya, and they will eat you alive. But I agree with you. America has its guys in Disney. You took the words right out of my mouth. The guys in Disneyland playing with the different versions of Minnie Mouse. Mm, I mean, don't get me wrong. No place is perfect. You know, America has its flaws. Thailand has its flaws. One of the things that I've always had to admire about America is its opportunity for you as an American who was born here to fall down, get back up, and start all over again with nothing, absolutely nothing. You can fall down, get back up, and start all over again. You don't have to sit, and have to be homeless. You don't. Most people choose to be homeless, just like a lot of people choose to be ignorant. It's a choice. Don't get me wrong. I discovered in Thailand sometimes ignorance is bliss. Learning to speak Thai or learning to speak Portuguese or Spanish, now you're able to listen. Now you're able to actually hear the thoughts of other people, and those thoughts that you hear could bother you. Do you something Thailand has ever more income inequality than U.S.? There's far more, inequality in Thailand. First of all, one of the things that Black people specifically won't stand for is low wages. You know, We won't stand for that. Not to mention, you have people who create unions, and these people who are like these union reps and union bosses, they want to get money. They want to be paid. So, you know, when you have people like that fighting for your best interest, wink, wink, how can you go? How can you lose? There aren't many people in Thailand, I guess, within their government system, fighting for the equality of all Thai people. How you doing? Some pretend, some may do it, but just in my opinion, it's probably not sincere. Now they'll fight for the ability to be able to get over on other people. For example, there's so many foreigners finding out right now that the property that they purchased in Thailand is now being taken back from them, and they're being thrown out of Disneyland. Huh, who would have known? I guess they never saw that coming. It's not our fault that they won't fight for more. They won't fight for better. They won't fight. You know, they'll bow their heads down and say, okay, okay. And, you know, and when you come to the country and you look at what's going on, you say, I couldn't do that. 500 baht a month. What can you buy with 500 baht a month? That's been more than 500 baht a day. Sabai mentality. Exactly. And that mentality, where does it get them, Rick? How far does it take them in life? How productive can they be with that mentality? I learned that. And as so many other foreigners that I would interact with would attempt to convince me to have the same mentality, I said that mentality didn't help me learn everything that I know. Now, don't get me wrong. It took me 10 years to pay back my school loans. 10 years. But it was like 300,000 for like my bachelor's degree in banking law and financing. And then I got another degree in consumer advocacy law, and that was over 100K, like 120, 130K. So when you have someone who's willing to sacrifice their time and their reputation in order to get, a good education, because that's what you got to do. You got to promise to pay. Then you have to go to school, pass your classes, I didn't have a sabai mentality because I wanted more. I wanted better than what I saw my parents have, what I saw other people around me were having. Wasn't so much I wanted like a big car or anything like that. I just wanted to be equal. And that's what I thought my education would provide me, an opportunity to be equal, if not better. And, that's sort of the difference between most children here. Children here, I think we're taught to want better, to want more. And maybe children in Thailand learn from other people not really from, their own, from their own, that they want more. They're being taught a sabai life. Don't worry about it. Relax, calm down. Then they see other people come to their country and they go, whoa, I like that. Why are they having more fun than me? How's your day going so far, Rick? Or how was your day? Better yet. I'm just enjoying the day, enjoying the Sabbath. Seventh day, as God created the earth, and on the seventh day he rested. That's what I'm doing. On this seventh day, I'm resting, enjoying the day, enjoying the weather, and enjoying having a peace of mind. Well, I would if I didn't have to use this fly swatter. What's going on YouTube? What's going on out there? Who's celebrating the 4th of July and why? Why are we celebrating 250 years of indentured servitude? That's the question that I'd like to ask. To relax, Rick. You know, some people don't think about this, but if you look at a calendar, you'll see Sunday is the first day of the week, and Saturday is the end of the week, weekend. So if you look at it from a biblical standpoint, I'm not trying to get biblical with you, but didn't God rest on the seventh day after he created basically the heavens, the earth, and everything? Well, if you think about it, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 7 days he rested. What do you usually do on the 4th of July? Well, I normally go down to Manhattan and watch the firework display, just walk around, waste money. And that's really about it. But I've been there, done that for so many years. Walk around, tourists who come there for the Macy's firework display. Seen it for so many times. As I said, I'm just enjoying the day. That's it. Enjoying the day, relaxing at home, not thinking about anything other than just relaxing and enjoying. Probably I'm meaning to take out this camera and clean it. It's an old Nikon. I don't know if you all ever saw these before. F90 Nikon cameras. Back in the days, it was about $1,000. Probably I'll just go and clean it up. Have you been following the World Cup? Sometimes, I follow Brazil and I've been following Haiti. Those are like my two favorite, soccer teams that I've been keeping up with. Wow. Cape Verde's done really well. Okay. they actually, I have a family member from Cape Verde. Well, family member from Cape Verde. No, I haven't. There are a lot of African countries that I'll never visit simply because I don't want to have to go and get all of those shots. Like, for example, for people to enter into Africa, you have to get vaccinated. And I'm not interested in someone stabbing me with a whole bunch of needles just to now make it safe for me to enter into the country. So I got to be stabbed with a needle full of malaria and yellow pox and all other type of, other things that, I wasn't given these things, Heck, I never even had the chicken pox. So did you get the COVID jab? No, I didn't get the COVID jab. No. No, I didn't take COVID jab. I didn't feel the need to take, a stab with the COVID jab. A stab with the COVID jab. I didn't feel the need to do that. So why get something that I don't need? I barely get sick, Rick. Rarely. I may get a cold, sore throat, but other than that, I rarely get sick. I don't know. Maybe I have a good immune system. You know, and I've one time donated blood. They were happy to have an O negative, food poisoning. Maybe once, and that was in Mexico. I didn't know I was 18 years old. It was the first time out of the country, and I didn't eat anything, but I did eat a salad. And I think they cleaned the salad with water, Mexican water. That's how I got sick because I wasn't drinking water. I wasn't drinking anything with ice in it. So I think that's the only reason why I got sick. And food poisoning, I'm not a big person who, that smells so good. Oh, let me have one. I'm not one of those people. I look at it and I say to myself, can I make that at home? Can I make that at home? One of the things that I've learned while living in other countries is people, yeah, I'm careful what I eat. Not only just careful what I eat, I'm also conscious of what people do. Like if I see people handling food, the first thing I look for is are they wearing gloves? And the moment I see that a person is touching food and money, I go, nope, nope. Because if you're touching my food and you're touching money, miss me. No, we're not going to do that. You're not going to go hand me food and then take some money, because if you took some money from me, imagine how many other nasty, dirty dollar bills you've taken and put in your hand while you're serving food, touching ice or touching the handle of ice, or, the little scooper while you're touching money. Who wants to sit there and eat those type of germs? Now, some people may say, "Oh, you're such a germaphobe." Yeah, well, I'm not the one getting sick. Do you want to sit up in the ER room all day long, getting your stomach pumped, or you just want to say, "You know what? I'll pass. That looks nice. You like that? No, thanks." I probably may go and take a walk later today. That's all. Just take a walk. Nothing too fancy. What I can't wait to do is get to Brazil this year. To ask you, wanted to ask you, want to get the third printer, but it seems very technical. Where to start? Want to get a third printer? Where are you? Are you in Thailand? Are you in Thailand? Oh, a 3D printer. Okay. Um, there's a cool place in Bangkok where to get a 3D printer. Um, I can go and look it up for you. I wanted to ask you, want to get a 3D printer, but very technical. Where to start? Okay. Um, I had a 3D printer. Let me get the name. Okay, now I'm in Da Nang, Vietnam. I don't know where in Da Nang, Vietnam you'd be able to get a 3D printer. Um, I bought my printer in Bangkok, but if you are interested in getting it from Bangkok, you can, purchase the 3D printer in a store in Bangkok. You could fly over there. They'll have it right in the store. No, no, I wouldn't order anything online. And there's reasons why I wouldn't order certain things like a 3D printer online. First of all, um, you want to see your printer. You want to see it. You want to look at it. Or at least you want to go into a store and you want to actually see the model that you want or the different models so you can make a determination. Um, Let me see, what printer did I have? Something a K2 plus. Uh, Something K2 plus. That's what I had. Just give me a second. Let me look because I know probably have some stuff. No, I wouldn't order. I wouldn't order a 3D printer online. Let's see. Okay. I had a Creality. Yes, a Creality K2 Plus. That's the printer that I had, a Creality K2 Plus printer. See if I can find photos of a Creality K2 Plus printer. So this is what I had. I don't know if you can see it, but that's what I had. And as you can see, its price tag, $1,000. $1,000. Now, I see it on eBay for half that price, but it's most likely used. But if you see the other, printer prices right here, you'll see that they're $1,000. They're all 1,000. That's the printer that I had. I made some cool stuff with the printer. Really, really did. I don't know if I ever showed you like my Pokemon balls, Pokemon makeup cases that I made for women. But yeah, I made some really cool stuff with K2 printer, Creality printer, 3D printer. Why? What are you trying to what are you trying to make with a 3D printer? Just basically stuff on personal stuff, or trying to create things for a business. Please know this: one of the hardest things that I discovered uh, was finding things in Asia. That was one of the most discouraging things that really made me question staying in Asia. Yeah, the culture and the people were one thing, but finding things, that was the biggest problem. So hard to find things that you would normally do. Like you could find in America, you can go to a store like Home Depot and a Lowe's and say, I want candy apple red or Ferrari red spray paint. You go right in there and you'll find it. You won't find that easily in stores in Asia. Or if you want a chrome spray paint, or you want gold, like shiny gold, you won't find these things. In Asia, you got to go and buy them online. That's the downfall. Not being able to go into the store, see the spray paint, see it for yourself, check it out, and go, okay, this is what I want. This is this is the color I want. In Asia, it's like they want you to make mistakes at your expense. So you have to go and look at this spray paint, order it, discover that you've ordered the wrong spray paint, and then basically go and order something else because you discovered you purchased the wrong thing. And of course, a lot, I'm not saying all, a lot of, places, don't care that you made the mistake. They're like, it's your mistake. Where, in America, you can walk into a store, pop open a can of spray paint, go, tss, up, that's the color I want, and just walk up and pay for it. Not in Asia. They don't allow that. Can't just go and, you know, find what you're looking for. That's very discouraging, in a country like in a place like Southeast Asia where you're looking for certain things, you want to build certain things, you're a creative person, and it's not easy to find these things there. So that was very, very discouraging for me. I don't know about everyone else, but it was very discouraging for me to be there and not be able to find, little things that, you could find here in America. You're probably thinking, nah, that ain't true. Okay. Okay. I always tell you, don't take my word for it if you don't want to take my accept my experience. Go there and get kicked in the ass real hard. And then you can sit beside me. I'll buy you a beer and I'll say, so how did it feel? How did it feel getting kicked in the ass real hard? Did it feel good? Did you like it? I don't like it. I know I don't like getting kicked in the butt real hard, but you know, as they say, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Have to bounce. Okay, Rick, you have a good day. Take care. Why are we celebrating the 4th of July? That's the question that basically I ask a lot of people. Why are we celebrating indentured servitude? Do people understand that we are not really free? We may think we're free. We may be under the impression that we're free here in America. We're not really free when we voluntarily enter into indentured servitude for so many things in life. And then we don't realize the consequences of our decision of entering into this agreement of servitude. Indentured servitude comes in all types, fashions, and forms. You go and finance a car. You're now obligated, yes, obligated to performance. And many people don't realize, the more things they get in life, the deeper into servitude they get into. There's so many ways, you sign for a credit card, you sign for that debt. Here, sure, go play, go have fun. And guess what? You just signed an agreement towards indentured servitude. You just accepted, the obligation to perform. And so many people don't understand that uh, we're being used here, in America. But there's opportunities to use the system, which I've done myself. Use the system, learn how to capitalize on the laws that have put into place to benefit from indentured servitude. And I don't know. I don't know if I want to say become a better servant because, the moment somebody pays me to help them, you know, file a lawsuit or help them with, their legal case, with the situation that they feel they want some results or action. The moment I accept, anything from them, anything, guess what? I now have to perform. If I accept basically, money from them, I have to perform. There's no if, there's no ands, there's a buts about it. So as people sit and they celebrate indentured servitude in the various capacities, whether it be the servitude of a mortgage or the servitude of performing for a bank loan or for a car note or for a credit card. This is Independence Day. But how can you celebrate when you're not really free? How can you really enjoy anything if this is just a reprieve? Oh, here, have a day off. Have 2 days off. But later, I need for you to get back to work and start performing because you're really not free. I'm just giving you the impression of freedom, giving you the illusion of what freedom looks like, because I want you to feel comfortable being an indentured servant. I want you to voluntarily want what everyone else wants, servitude. So again, I ask the question, why are we celebrating Independence Day? Are we really independent? Are we really free? It's the only country I know on the 4th of July you can still get a package. That's good.
Not much.
Thank you.
All right, enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Enjoy your fall.
For what? For what? We not free?
Oh, yeah.
We not free for real.
Not at all,
Didn't you sign a contract for that car? Didn't you sign a contract to get that car?
Yeah.
So guess what? If you don't pay it, what do they come and do?
They paid it.
Thank you. So you're indentured servitude.
You're right, man. I can't argue with you there.
Thank you again for your service.
No problem.
See? Perfect example. And this is in real time. This wasn't staged. Someone came to deliver a package, and he admitted, if he doesn't perform, guess what? The contract that he's entered into, they will consider that a breach, and they will say, oh, well, you breach your contract. And since you breach your contract, these are the repercussions of your default or your decision to default. Come here, slave. Give me that car. Give me that house. Come to the decision in my life where I just feel like so many things are not really worth it. I'd rather be free and be happy. Am I going to go and sell, all my stuff today and just, go and live like a hermit? No. But I do know that I'm happy with everything that I have. I'm happy with what I have here. I'm happy with the knowledge that I possess. And the most important thing now I see in my life is just legacy. What I leave behind, the legacy that I leave behind for people to remember me, being a good person, being diligent, consistent, reliable, and showing people, especially my friends and family, that the devotion that I put into doing things for them was more important than any monetary amount of money that I could either loan to them or give to them. My knowledge that I shared with them was far more valuable. Oreo cookie, where are you at now? Yes. What's going on, Oreo cookie? Yes, I am. Just relaxing. Just relaxing. Oreo cookie. Woohoo. How is your day going, Oreo cookie? Are you enjoying yourself? Where are you at this moment? Happy 4th of July. Thank you very much, but I don't celebrate the 4th of July. That was my topic for today. Why are we celebrating Independence Day when we're not independent? Um, why are we celebrating the 4th of July when um, we're really, most people are in indentured servitude, in indentured servitude? Um, but I thank you for the sentiment. I appreciate it. But I really don't feel like, it's anything worth celebrating. This is what, 250 years of celebrating America's indentured servitude. And guess who the servants are? Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. Those are the servants. Unless your name is J.P. Morgan Chase, Rockefeller, Super Smash Burger on Nintendo. I feel you. I may go and make me a double cheeseburger later on today myself. Super Smash Brother. Super Smash Brothers on Nintendo. Okay, that's right. Wow, I didn't even know Nintendo still was existed. I mean, I've heard of they have products out, but I didn't know they still existed. You know, it's sad, but it's sad most of all that most people don't realize that they should be working towards a goal, and that goal should not be to drive around fancy cars and wear all these things like gold and diamonds on their hands. For what do they do except give people a perception of you? you know I never wanted that. Never wanted people to have a perception of me that wasn't real. you know so I use my intelligence, I use my education to give me more in life other than a perception. Some people, they'll never ever figure that out until they're this age, and then they realize, oh, I've wasted all my time. But you know we're celebrating, and people are running around happy to and celebrate indentured servitude, happy to still be in bondage. We're still in slavery. Most people, they're still in slavery. And I'm not going to sit there and say you no, when guess what, the moment one of my clients says I need help, um, these debt collectors are harassing me and I want them to stop. Well, guess what, if they offer me something of value and I accept it, I have to perform. So I'm still a servant, just like everyone else. See how basically we're, me, including I, The moment, basically, whether or not I'm here in New York or whether I'm in Thailand, the moment I get a phone call or an email or and someone offers me something of value, I've now become an indentured servant. My next trip overseas is next month. Uh, I have a motorcycle in the Dominican Republic. I've ordered some parts. I don't know if you've ever seen my motorcycle before, but if not, you can go look it up. It's a MV Agusta F4, a 2011, and it just needed, gaskets changed. That's about it. Oil change. So most likely I'll go down to the Dominican Republic, ride my bike for about 2 weeks, maybe come back for a week, and then head down to Peru, and or maybe I'll skip Peru and just go right to Brazil. I have some friends that have been asking me to come down there and just basically, you know, get a different perspective. I've been to South America, I've been to Venezuela, but I've never been to Brazil. May open up opportunities, but who knows? We'll see. Right now, I'm not really concerned about so much business opportunities. I'm looking at um, just seeing what we haven't seen before and seeing the benefits of uh, of going down to Brazil and exploring and learning something new and seeing if the 3 years of me learning to speak Portuguese is beneficial or is it a hindrance? You know, there are some people who feel like, oh, you can speak Spanish. Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's always a flip side to that coin. I am considering going to a place called Fortaleza. I may go to Bahia. Rio is maybe. I probably will arrive in Rio, maybe walk around Rio for about 4 days. But Fortaleza is where basically I'd like to go in a place called Minas Gerais. It's Belo Horizonte. I'll definitely find a female friend. Hope so. Hope so. We hear that Brazil is huge. It's very, very big. So just been, practicing on my Portuguese, just brushing up because most Brazilians, they don't speak Spanish and they don't want to speak Spanish. I mean, English. They're not interested in speaking English. They're not interested in our culture. Yes, yes, Brazilian women are very gorgeous, and they definitely have a work ethic, exercise work ethic like I've never seen before. You know, I don't understand, but they're always doing like that Brazilian dance called the samba, and basically that samba is like maybe one of the things that keeps their body in such good shape, and not to mention that sun constantly burning off the calories that most Americans sit here and sit in the sunlight or sit in the shade or in air conditioned apps. What apps are you used to learning? I didn't learn Portuguese from any app. I actually took a class. They were, I think Austin Holland got kicked out of Brazil. Who knows? I don't have the videotape. I can't say how or what happened. All I know is that, you know, he's given his opinion about it. And well, if he got kicked out, then why did Skylar leave? You know? Skylar was, enjoying himself. He's a YouTuber. He was enjoying himself in Rio de Janeiro. Was, as he would say it, taking these foldables to Pound Town. But yet and still, guess what? One moment he's making a video about taking a Brazilian to his to his couch and folding her up. And next thing you know, he's like, yo, I'm leaving Brazil. So I think there was a lot of things going on in Brazil that a lot of YouTubers basically just didn't want to get caught up in, specifically investigations, because when you're that was his favorite place, but I think he just made some women mad. I think perhaps how many people I probably made mad in the Dominican Republic. You know how many people I probably made upset at me in the Philippines or in Thailand. I made guys mad at me in Thailand, in Pattaya, simply because I called them out and said, you didn't find love. You found an employee who's accepting the contract, the deal you offer them, and everything appears to be love on the surface, So I'm sure there's a lot of guys who basically, upset at me. Well, maybe Brazil will be my favorite place. Who knows? But we're definitely going down there this year, and we're brushing up on our Portuguese. You know, it's an easy language because I know it. I took it for 3 years. How I learned Portuguese was um, there was like a community center in Manhattan, and they were offering to go over into an area called Newark. And they had people from Newark, Brazilian people from Newark, to come into Manhattan and give classes. And I thought it would just be cool to, speak to Brazilian people, see who they were. I was just curious at 21 years old. So I went to this, what's the name? This I guess it wasn't a YMCA, but it was like a center where they just, had different activities for people. And I went there, and there were Brazilian people. There was about 3 Brazilian people there, and they were just offering, to teach people how to speak Portuguese. And I signed up, and I kept going, and I kept going, and then I met a friend. He was a reporter. His name is Leo Ferreira. He worked for a company called Brazilian Voice newspaper. And after talking with him, he started sending me newspapers to help me read, help me develop my Brazilian Portuguese comprehensive skills, how to read it. And, I was very curious. I would ask him questions all the time. After he sent me a newspaper, I'd read it. And then I'd, ask, what does this mean? And he'd tell me. And, once you started to learn the language and how to speak it properly and start to understand it, it was like, oh, shoot, I want to learn about the food. Wow, I didn't know the plane ticket was cheap. I thought plane tickets for Rio de Janeiro were nothing less than $1,300. Now, for some of us, that could be cheap compared to other places, but if that's round trip, $2,600 round trip, because I at least want to be comfortable on a flight going from New York City to JFK Airport to Rio de Janeiro. I do not want to be sitting in an airplane for 13 hours. So, well, not to mention, can I bring, my camera? Oh, that's like can I bring my camera? I have a nice little Nikon camera, and is it safe for me to take it down there? Yeah, 1,300. That's like going to the Philippines. Yeah, I know. I spent that, I spent that before. I definitely spent that before several times. So, but we'll check out some prices. As I said, we have a friend from America. He's going down there. He wants to go rent some motorcycles and maybe ride from Brazil to Argentina. That sounds cool. Can you say some phrases? If I'm traveling to Brazil, you should know. Não falo a língua portuguesa. Desculpa. Faz favor de me uma faz favor, por favor, yeah, por favor, faz favor, yeah, faz favor, me uma, no, is it? Faz favor, por favor, faz favor, uma pergunta. Like I said, I haven't practiced in a while, but faz favor, uma pergunta is like, can I ask you a question? Everything is not Spanish. Their words are slightly different. Everything's about pronunciation. Hold on. Like you wouldn't say in Spanish, you would say yo puedo ayudarte. No, in Portuguese you would say eu posso ayudar, ayudar o. Because O or A can be considered you. Am I hungry? Am I hungry? Am I hungry? Eu tenho, eu tenho, not hunger, because I know in Spanish, it's tengo hambre. I got to remember the word for hunger in Portuguese. I think it's almost the same. No, it's not the same. No, hunger is not the same. But I know eu tenho is I have. I'm just trying to remember the word for hunger. Eu tenho hambre. Hambre is like saying I have hunger. So eu is I. Tenho is I have hunger. I know eu tenho sede, but it's pronounced sede. That's basically like I have thirst. I definitely remember that. As I said, once I get there, once I start hearing the language, or I'll remember more. Like, I remember if people say to me things like, onde é você? Onde is like where. Onde é is where is it? Like, no, onde é vai você? Like, where are you going? No, is it? Onde é você vai? Sorry. Onde é você vai? Where are you going? That's where are you going in Brazil? Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I thought you would be bothering me. Eu gosto falando a língua portuguesa. Eu creio a língua portuguesa muito beleza. É muito beleza. Às vezes, eu preciso, eu preciso, antes de falar a língua portuguesa, mas eu falo. You say some phrases. If I'm traveling to Brazil, you should know. I still got to remember all the phrases. I got to get this Spanish out of my head. and start changing certain words. Like, for example, I have yo tango to eu and stop pronouncing things that I know in Spanish that are, spoken in Portuguese. So that's all it is. Just a matter of changing certain things. Even though Brazilians do understand Spanish, um, I just prefer, speaking to them in Portuguese. That's all. So, so my question though is to my YouTubers: who is celebrating Independence Day and why? Do you feel free here in America? Do you really feel free when you are in indentured servitude? For the past 250 years, Americans have been in indentured servitude, pretending that we're free, but we're not free because we can't walk up into a car dealership and say, "Give me that car for free." We can't walk into a brand new home and say, "Give it to me for free." In order to basically, acquire things such as a car, we have to become indentured servants. We have to voluntarily enter into indentured servitude. And this is why I don't celebrate the 4th of July. Going down to the Macy's firework display, that's even celebrating because I'm going there to observe with other people as if though I don't recognize what I'm going there for. Watching the fireworks, which I've done for many years, which I said, what am I going down there for? To give other people the impression. What your thoughts on Harriet Tubman going on the 20s? I don't understand your question. What are your thoughts on Harriet Tubman going on the 20s? Oh, Oh, okay, I get your question now. Harriet Tubman going on the 20s. Well, let's see if it even happens because if they're willing to put Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill, well, then obviously they're willing to give all black people here reparation. I've actually read an article a few days ago that Jamaica is going to put in their make their play. They're going to demand for reparations from the United Nations because they also are aware of their heritage. They know that they were on a slave ship. They know basically they were stolen and brought to the island of Jamaica, by people of the crown, and they were stolen. They were stolen. They were put into servitude, and now they're asking for their reparation, the same way that Americans uh, requested for reparations, and America said, "For what? What are we giving you reparations for? You didn't die in a Holocaust like the Jews. No, black people, we didn't die in like the Jews. We were done worse. We were whipped and beaten. We were whipped and beaten and killed, and now they didn't make our death easy. No, we were not given an easy death. We were worked and beaten into servitude. The Jews in the internment camps and what's the name? I actually, it just in my opinion, had it a lot easier. You know, they had it far easier than most Americans, black Americans who were brought here on slave ships or, brought to other countries like the Dominican Republic and, well, actually the country's called something Isla, um, something like Isla. That's what the island of the Dominican Republic and where Haiti's at. Let's see. Yeah. What is the island of Haiti and the Dominican Republic called?
Before colonization, the Taino people called it Quisqueya or Haiti, which later became the name for Haiti.
Oops. Yes, uh, Isla La Española. Isla Española. That's the island. That's what it's called. Isla Española. And slave ships stopped along a very, very broad route. They stopped in the Americas, North America. They stopped along the islands of the Bahamas, Jamaica. They dropped off a lot of slaves, and there are now people there. They want their reparation for being kidnapped, put on a slave ship, dragged, away from their homes, away from their family, and all I can do is wish Jamaica, good luck. Good luck, basically, trying to obtain, reparations from the king of the king of England. But I rarely doubt, he's going to give it to them. But if he does, that basically puts in a stronger argument of why Americans, Black Americans, are entitled to reparations. Who knows? But I know their argument or their petition is going in front of the United Nations. I think in August or September. They've already requested basically, an audience, and we're gonna, the eyes are watching. But again, if Black Americans didn't get it, what hope does Jamaica have for getting it? And they're under, they're under the Queen's rule, under England's rule. They're under British rule. So let's see what good old King Charles will do for, his. I don't want to say their servants, but I definitely will say the constituents of his crown. That's a better way to put it. We'll see what the king does for the constituents of his crown. Really nice day outside today. I'm really, truly enjoying, just relaxing, enjoying the nice fresh air, warm weather. Just gives one, something to reflect on. That's all. What is important to you? Is it important for you to continue living your life in indentured servitude, having all types of unnecessary things? Don't get me wrong, please. Uh, I have things. I'm not going to tell you what to do, not to how to do it. I have things. I have a Nikon camera. It's it's a materialistic thing. Do I have some nice watches? Yeah, I have about two or three. Um, do I have some nice glasses? Yeah. Do I walk around and wear these things all the time? No. And as I think about the things that I have worked hard to get, I'm asking myself, yeah, what am I going to do with those when I die? They'll still be here. So why should I go and waste more time and energy acquiring resources to obtain these trinkets when I can't take them with me? I can't take them I can take them, I can ask, yeah, put them in a coffin with me, but what benefit are they when I'm dead? No, I'm not taking a break from traveling. Since I came back to America, I have a partner. We have a business here, and basically, now that I'm here, I can basically help out more with some of the workload. You know, sometimes he's talking to people on the phone, and sometimes I'm doing the paperwork, and vice versa. You know, I prefer doing the paperwork instead of talking to people on the phone because lawyers don't like my candor. He's more diplomatically suited to talk to people than I am. I'm a little more brazen. But yeah, I have a lot of clients, a lot of basically things I have to file, a lot of laws, civil lawsuits that I have to file, and it just makes it easier, to file them in America or deal with clients here in America than if I'm in Thailand. I have to wait until 10 o'clock, and then basically I have to wait on, wait, and then basically I'm doing work basically in the nighttime, when it's daytime, like doing paperwork. So while everyone in America is sleeping, I'm awake. I'm talking to clients who are awake in America while I should be asleep in Thailand. So the only thing I have taken a break from is really being on YouTube so much because a lot of my content I discovered is being shadow banned. I have, so many subscribers, yet and still my watch hours continue to decline where they should be going up. And that basically right there has made me go, well, you're not paying me. So why am I continually making or putting a lot of effort into content? And when clients are the individuals saying, I have some money for you if you're willing to, perform and provide me with a service. So, but no, I'm not taking a break back from what's name. Oh, Valentine, I will make some recommendations for you. Bangkok is just like New York. Um, definitely recommend you going to Phuket. Phuket has a really nice water park. It's really nice in Phuket. There's a lot of Russians over in Phuket, so the streets over there are going to be maintained differently. You're going to get a very clean experience. Not saying, Thailand isn't clean. It's just that, because, in certain areas where there's a high population of European people, um, they're going to pay money to keep, their areas pristine and nice. So I definitely recommend that, Phuket be a destination that you go to. Krabi, yes, it's spelled with a K, Krabi. I definitely recommend that you go to Krabi to visit. It's a tourist destination, but it's still nice. It's still clean. Um, Boriram, Boriram is nice, and Wahin, Wahin. It's spelled Huahin. Wahin. I recommend those places. Um, Instead of basically Pattaya, I don't recommend that place. It's too seedy. It's ooh, the link to the live. Okay, thank you very much, Phoenix. I appreciate it. And how are you doing over there, Mario? What are you doing? I'm sure you're probably with your family and enjoying your day. We're just talking today on the live about why do people celebrate the 4th of July? Why do people falsely celebrate Independence Day when for 250 years Americans have not been free. We've been in indentured servitude. And, the more people basically get into things like debt, the further into indentured servitude we will become. It's a cycle. That's the crazy thing. No matter how they package it, this is a cycle. This is why I'm saying to myself, life is worth more than just having a nice watch or a nice pair of pants or expensive pair of glasses, or you can wear nice shoes and things like that if you really want them, but there's certain things that I feel like some people just should not waste their money on. Don't waste, like I heard Floyd Mayweather recently was arrested for committing fraud. He wrote a check for a $200,000 AP watch. The check bounced, and now basically, they're saying he's committed fraud or theft by deception. That's what the technical legal term is for. And $200,000 for a watch, which I'm not saying it's, it probably isn't, worth the value and can be utilized later on, or maybe he can give that to someone as a gift. But if he isn't giving it to anyone as a gift, what's the purpose in having a $200,000 watch? You can't take it to the grave with you when you die. So why buy it? Because you can spend the money? You think they're going to put that AP watch in your grave with you when you die? This is just my perspective. I'd rather take $200,000 and travel all around the world, as just like my mentor Philly Dom. Shout out to Philly Dom over there in Singapore. I'd rather live around the world, traveling to different countries, which you can do if you have, $200,000, and, travel modestly. Now, I'm not saying you have to, go first class. You can sometime, but not everywhere. But you can go, and for $200,000, you can travel around the world comfortably, stay in some nice hotels comfortably, and eat comfortably. So that's basically, my topic is what do you really want? Even young people who are on my live right now, is indentured servitude really something that you want to be a servant to? Or do you want to basically take your youth, acquire resources, and then go and live a productive life, but enjoy life? You can be productive, but you can also enjoy life. Because at the end of the day, if they had to come and repossess your car, your house, you still have your memories. They can't take those away. They can't go and slap some cuffs on you and say, give me those memories back. You can't be happy. I don't want you to be happy. They can't take those back from you. They can't take away your memories. They can't take away the time that you spent in all of these other places, enjoying yourself. They can't take that away from you. And that's what I really want people to really focus on, because, people will sit there and say, hey, America, 250 years, we're celebrating independence. No, we're not. They're celebrating the lie of independence. They're celebrating the false illusion of freedom. When the moment you accept, any type of fiat currency, legal tender, money, whatever you want to call it, credit cards, you are now an indentured servant. And I don't think that we should be celebrating indentured servitude under the guise of independence. Now, if you want to say that the guise is better than in other countries, okay, we can say that. We can say anything, but is it true? Is it really true? Is the guise better? Because if you're just pretentiously living under that guise and saying, "Yeah, I live free," and then guess what? Even if you're Kevin Hart, you get a phone call and they say, "Hey, Kevin, we're offering you $500,000. We want you to come over here and tell some jokes." You think Kevin Hart, as rich as he is going to turn down $500,000 to come tell some jokes? No, he is going to become a servant and perform. And that's all I'm saying. America is a system, and it's a vicious system, but it all gives people the impression that it's a system that everyone wants. You got a lot of people in other countries wanting to run over here a million miles an hour to become an indentured servant. But I get it. I understand. Maybe our indentured servitude looks better than other people. Maybe, what we're willing to fight for, other people aren't. You saw what they did in Brooklyn. ICE agents ran down there and tried to grab up some Haitian people and throw them in their truck. Haitians was like, no, 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 not here. It was a royal rumble over there in Brooklyn. Haitians don't play. Now that's one place Haitians will party for their right to fight. Now the country Haiti may be in shambles right now, but that's simply because it lacks, a stable government. But those are the most, I want to say, valiant people in the world who will definitely fight for freedom. They'll fight for things. Other people in the world, they won't. Most people in Southeast Asia, they won't fight for the freedoms that we in America have. Hell, the Philippines, who helped them fight for their independence? The Buffalo Soldiers. Nevertheless, they suffer from white worship. The Black Buffalo Soldiers, who were once slaves, went to the Philippines, helped them acquire their independence, yet those same Filipinos who we, Black Americans, helped them get their independence, sat and said, "Thank you very much. Thank you, white man, for sending over these black people. And we just want to thank you very much for trying to colonize us. We thank you so much. We thank you so much. We want to still be with you. And as for you blacks who helped us, get our freedom and liberation, well, it was nice. Thank you very much for your help, but we still want the colonizer. We still want, the blonde hair, blue eye, colonizers who will not think twice about basically slapping you in chains or having you mop their floors, wash their dishes, cook their foods, watch their children, raise their children." Yeah. But hey, that's just the way it is. Some things will never change. I'm just here enjoying the day, nothing more. Here talking with you. Asking the important question: why are Americans celebrating independence or the celebration of 250 years of independence when we're not free? We're not free at all. This is just like the Matrix. This is an illusion of freedom. This is what America's system has created to give us the false perception of being free. And we're not free. This isn't freedom. This is an illusion. The only time we're free is when we're dead. We're peacefully resting. Our final destination, as the movies, as it said in the movie, that's why they said we're resting peacefully. Yeah, we're dead. We're resting peacefully. We don't have to think about waking up. And if you have pets, going and walking the dog or buying food or paying taxes or driving from here to there. We don't have to think about any of these things no more. We are finally resting. Now we're free. Death is true freedom. Not America. So if y'all still want to run over here 1,000,000 miles an hour, well, good luck. Maybe you may want to wait until the Trump administration has changed hands, because while he's in office, he's locking all the windows and closing all the doors. Good luck even thinking about getting a tourist visa. You want a tourist visa to come to America, give him 100 mil. That's his philosophy. You want a tourist visa in America? Oh yeah, you want to visit the Statue of Liberty? You want to visit Central Park? Deposit 100 mil into this bank account. You can come over here. What, you don't have it? You need a layaway plan? We'll think about it. I was just reading an article the other day where it said that 15,000 immigrants were rounded up in the month of July. Wow, it's just July 4th, and basically deported. 15,000 people within the month of July were arrested and deported. I don't know. Maybe Trump is trimming the fat. Trimming the fat. Oh, you don't want to speak English? Arrest him. Oh, you don't want to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance? Arrest him. Deport him. The Pledge of Allegiance was not for Black Americans. I forget the person who created it, but I know it was basically not for Black Americans, the benefits of Black Americans. But of course, we're taught as children in school to stand up and pledge allegiance to a flag. I'm not going to be on here too much longer. I haven't eaten, but it does feel cool to, get on YouTube and talk with everyone, ask them questions. If I have any questions y'all like to ask, please, don't hesitate. I'd love to answer any questions. Not many people have asked me questions today, so I've been on here for about an hour and 30 minutes. Haven't eaten. This is all we've had, water. We definitely have to go in and get some food, though. If anyone has any questions, comments, or concerns about what I've said today, please express them. If you think I'm wrong, if you think America should be celebrating 250 years of false independence, comment. Let me hear your opinion. Let me hear your thoughts. Or if you think I'm right, you know, I'll take your silence as prima facie evidence that basically you agree with me. I'm going to have to go with, the presumption, because that's all I have if, no one's rebuting or refuting anything that I'm saying. But everyone who's enjoying this Saturday, enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the weather outside, because the weather is definitely great in New York. It's great all around. Definitely here on the East Coast, the weather is great. And I'm definitely enjoying today. Most likely we'll go out and take a nice little walk to the park. But we're just gonna try to avoid anything that has to do with the 4th of July, because we're not celebrating independence when we understand, well, we meaning me, myself, and I, and maybe a lot of other people realize and understand that we're in indentured servitude. We're not celebrating real freedom, because you can't walk up to a Cadillac dealership and say, "Give me that car," and the salesman go, "Here's the keys. If you don't like it, bring it back and pick whatever car in the lot you like." We're not. Nothing is free in this country. Can't even live here for free. But we're celebrating freedom. you know, Nothing is free. Death isn't even free. I mean, yeah, you can go outside and get some fresh air for free, but that's about it. That's really about it. But even fresh air isn't free, because if you continue to mess up the air, then basically people have to go and fix the air, and if that's even a thing. And fixing the air, or the quality of the air, you know, that takes money, that takes research. So even that's not free. So go figure. But I definitely want to, thank everybody for coming in on the channel today, watching the live. You know, Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns, just ask. You know. Also, look at some of my videos. If you're new to my channel, definitely check out some of my videos. There's a lot of interesting videos that I talk about controversial things that most people don't think of. I don't just sit and talk about, oh yeah, I've been to this country and show a bunch of photographs and lie to people and say, hey, this is great, that's not great. I give people both sides of the coin. Nice boy, hi, how are you doing today? It's nice to meet you. Are you new to my channel? Where are you at, nice boy? And what country? Or hi, no, okay. So nice boy, where are you at right now? Bangkok. Really? We're in Bangkok. Are you Thai or are you American? Are you Thai or are you American, nice boy? Because I lived in Bangkok. I lived there for 2 years. You're an Asian. Oh, wow. Okay. So I asked you, are you Thai? You said no. You said you're an Asian. The plot thickens. Okay, you don't have to tell me your nationality. You know, it's cool. No problem at all. So what are you doing in Bangkok, nice boy? And what are you doing at 1:30 a.m. in the morning? Because that's the time it is in Bangkok, or it's 12:30 a.m. in the morning, working remotely. Okay. If you don't mind, what type of work do you do? And why did you choose Bangkok as a place to work remotely? What made you decide you want to live in Bangkok to work remotely. Okay, consultancy. Okay. But you didn't answer the question. What was what made you? What was the decision that made you decide to say, I want to work remotely, because that's what you're saying. Work remotely. Okay, cost of living much cheaper than in my home country. Okay. Well, please know this. I don't know if you're from, which I doubt, you're not Malaysian, because the cost of living over there is pretty cheap as well. And I know you're not Filipino, because the cost of living is pretty cheap over there as well. So if you're from Singapore, I definitely would agree that the cost of living is definitely cheaper in Thailand than it is in Singapore. Okay. Now I get it. And yes, I agree with you. The cost of living in Singapore is very, very high. I have a friend, and my mentor is right now currently doing his thing. I like to call his thug thizzle. He's creating content in Singapore right now. His name is Philly Dom. Please go check out his channel. So, he was actually did a video a few days ago. He was invited into a HBD, the house of someone in Singapore. Cultures are closely similar. I don't, I have to go with, your opinion, but based on, me meeting Singaporeans in Thailand, Singaporean people are motivated and far more educated than people in Thailand. This was, this was my experience. I did meet about 4 Singaporeans in Thailand, spoke English, spoke like a very unique, with a very unique accent. But the women that I met over, in Thailand from Singapore, very educated. Yes, Singapore is a developed country. It's an island, actually, a very developed island country. But yes, it is. The average person over there probably like makes 100K, a year. That was just, research that I did. And everyone's educated. Everyone, I actually regret now, like finding out about Singapore and not visiting Singapore while I was while I was living in Thailand for 2 years. But who knows? We're still young. Can't make direct comparisons. Spoken like a true Singaporean. Spoken like a true Singaporean. And I definitely understand why you cannot. Singapore is like a 10, and Thailand is like a 4. Although, they'll never admit it. Thai people will never admit that, Singapore is a better country, developed a far better developed country, better educated people. They'll never admit it. Too proud, too arrogant. So nice today. So I know you're going to be entering rainy season very soon in Thailand. I hope you're ready for that. Yeah, I know, rainy season. How long do you plan on staying in Thailand, nice boy? Do you plan to stay there long term and work remotely from Bangkok, or do you plan to at least maybe go to other places, like, maybe stay in Thailand for a few months? Because now that they have, they've been cracking down on people staying there for long term. Coming 2 years and going. Okay. Yeah. Now that they've cracked down on their visa policies and stuff like that, you know, they don't want, foreigners, a lot of foreigners in Thailand staying there too long. So you may you may want to visit maybe Vietnam and other places. China is still one of the destinations that I'd like to visit. I have a lot of contacts in China, mainly Chinese wholesale vendors, which I've started uh, uh, um, a chat group where I take videos from Chinese vendors, and I post it on my group chats, so people that I know can look at the products. If they want to buy anything, they can basically purchase products from China through me. Hey, we're about to go get off. We've been on here for an hour 45 minutes. Get some breakfast or lunch, but definitely want to thank you, nice boy. I have the 5-year DT visa by using my remote work as a basis for application. Okay. Yeah, I can get the DT visa, but I'm not Asian. And there are certain things that Asians are taught that or acquire that after 2 years of living in Thailand, I said, you a lot of my patience for things over there have run out. As while I was there, I tried to open a business, but first I tried to promote certain products that I was making with my 3D printer, and I just couldn't get the cooperation of the people with their sabai mentality. So I sold the 3D printer before I left, and you know definitely happy to share my experience in Thailand with anybody who's interested in going to Thailand. Happy to share that before they get there, so they're just not walking into a nightmare as they basically walk into a country and think everyone's smiling because they're happy. No, they're smiling because they know you're going to spend money. That's what Thai people do. They're smiling because you're spending money with them. Don't spend money with them. Start to learn the language and start questioning the prices of things, and watch how those smiles turn upside down frowns. Okay. I lived there for 2 years. And I went and I learned the language, Thai language, for the first year that I was there. And I tried to make friends with Thai people. And a lot of them would laugh, because Thai is a tonal language. And as I would continue to try to speak to Thai people, practicing Thai, they would laugh. But not only would they laugh, they wouldn't make an effort to try to be welcoming and say, wow, you're trying to speak my language. You're making an effort. I want to, be hospitable to you as a guest in my country and try to help you speak the language better, make friends here, feel more welcomed, because Thai people are very antisocial. So to go to a country and spend resources, money, into learning the language so we can speak directly to the people and build friendships, you know, sincere friendships by speaking to the people. We didn't get that experience. What we got in Thailand is spend money and you can buy my friendship. You can buy it from me as long as you're spending money and treating me like I'm royalty. I'm more than happy to give you the pretense of a friendship. That's what I experienced. People there were not sincerely happy to basically, talk to foreigners. A lot of times I made them nervous trying to speak to them in Thai and ask them questions and try to hear things that they were saying in Thai so I could familiarize myself with the local language, because what you learn in the school, a lot of Thais, they're not saying this stuff. That's another thing that I learned. I went and I spent money to learn things that Thais looked at me and said, like, yo, why are you saying that? For example, um, young people in Thailand are not saying good morning like this. They don't say Arun Sawat, Sabai Di Mai. They're not saying that. They have I guess, a colloquial way of saying, it's nice to meet you. I learned Yindi Tida Rujak, like it's nice to meet you. Young people aren't saying these things. So I spent, like a year going to language school, spending, like almost like what, 60,000 baht. And people didn't really care to make friends. Now they're happy that I can speak to them and say things in Thai, but they weren't interested in making friends. And that was the disappointing thing. You investing time and resources into trying to learn the language so you can speak to people. And the people just really said, thank you for spending your money with me. Goodbye. So once I saw that I was wasting my time trying to make friends, I stopped trying to make friends because I saw how stressful it was and how uncomfortable I was making people by trying to make friends. You know, if you're not introduced to people in Thailand or in Asian countries, they're not really interested in knowing anything about you. So that was the disappointment. Then, not to mention, while I was there, as I told you, I was making products, with a 3D printer, trying to promote them with the local people. I actually tried to hire local people, and they didn't want my money. They were like, no, I if you give me this product, I'm not going to help promote it. Mhm. Hey, what's up, Herman? How was the heat wave? Off topic. How was the heat wave? It's like Tony the Tiger. Great. That's how the heat wave is. It's great. Yes, I am baking like a potato over here. It's very hot. Very, very pleasant. There's no air stirring, but it's still, it's still pleasant. It's not hot like fish grease, but it is hot. But let me not complain. At least it's not snowing, cold, and I'm shivering and freezing. Where have you been and what have you been doing, Herman? Haven't seen you in a while. Haven't heard from you. But then again, I haven't been on YouTube in a minute. You know, YouTube doesn't pay me, as Marcus Burnett would say. Unlike you, Mike, my parents didn't leave me no trust fund. I'm about to go inside in a few minutes and make some lunch. The only thing that I am going back to Thailand for is I have a storage, unit over there. I'm renting, and just go back and get basically my stuff out of storage. That's really it. I mean, I won't say never, but I've lived there for 2 years. Um, and when I walk up to local vendors and I'm hearing them, I hear Thai people walk up to them and ask them four things, and then they give them a certain price. And then when I walk up to locals and I ask in English, how much is this, and they give me a different price than the Thai person that they sold something to, it bothers me. I just, If I say something, it's just like, oh, why aren't I accepting to pay a higher price? It's like, why are you trying to charge me a higher price? Venezuela had a horrible earthquake, so that's off the docket for at least 2 to 3 years. Wow. Well, we'd have to basically ascertain, how bad the earthquake was, and how has the infrastructure been broken as a result of the earthquake. Because you know, one man's garbage is another man's treasure. So, but as I said, who knows? I'm not saying that we won't go back to Thailand. Maybe some family members may want to go there and ask me to come and be a tour guide for them. You know, that's a possibility. I know family members who haven't been to Thailand or Southeast Asia and are interested in going there. So it's a possibility we may go over there, just to show them a good time, just to keep them from basically being taken advantage of. Hey, I'm not, 90 years old, so at least I still have enough youth in me to, wait for Venezuela to improve itself. But, it's not so much it's the mindset. I would stay in Thailand to be a tour guide because I wouldn't want foreigners to be wouldn't taken advantage of. You know, if I would do that because it'd make me feel good knowing that I am helping other people. Because that's what we're all on this earth to do. We're here to help other people. What other purpose do we have other than to be here to help others procreate and leave, a legacy behind? You know, Being a tour guide, what does that give me? That gives me a purpose. That gives me something to do, things to help people understand about a country that they've never visited before. It would help them understand basically, things they should and shouldn't do, places if they're going to purchase things, what the local price is, how to avoid certain scams that, they walk into the moment they get off the airport. For example, if they don't have a whole bunch of luggage, they can spend $1 from the airport. Yes, $1 and take the train. Yeah, go right downstairs and take the train. So if you're like a backpacker, why would you go and spend 600 baht to travel, in a taxi cab when you can spend $1, yeah, like 35 baht, basically get on a train and get to your destination faster? These are the type of things that I would basically help people navigate in Thailand instead of basically some of the traps. For example, there are some tuk-tuk drivers. They will actually try to overcharge you 500 baht if you don't know any better, just to take you up the block. Yeah. Some motorcycle taxi drivers, they'll try to overcharge you if you don't know any better. So these are things that I feel like I would enjoy doing. And, I probably wouldn't be liked for showing people, you know, the pros and the cons very quickly. The moment they get off the airplane, how to avoid being scammed or taken advantage of by most people. But, then again, there's some people who will say, it's just $1. It's just this. Well, guess what? That's why people have savings, whether it be $1, a quarter. If you basically have money coming out your 401k, even if it's $5, it's still basically money that you're trying to save in order to do something later in life. But there are some people you may meet in Thailand over there and say, it's just $1. Oh, it's just $5. Guess what? You put away $5, a day, times that times 12. You do the math. How much will you have saved up if you had to save $5 a day for 30 days for 12 months? So, but I'm smelling the barbecue. I haven't eaten anything all, since I woke up today, did some yoga. But I'm definitely smelling the barbecue and smelling the burgers on the Barbie. Definitely getting hungry. But if anybody has any more questions, I've been on the live for almost about 2 hours, and please ask your questions now, because if anything, I definitely want to go and get me something to eat. Maybe I can come back on a little later. What is the model search? How is the model search going? I stopped trying to find models in Brazil because the two advertisements that I placed on Facebook have not been answered. So I'm not going to keep on searching for people who basically are not interested in helping me promote, the clothing brands that I have and can offer. Um, that's it. If people are basically happy being content with their lives, who am I to force people to basically want to become more or do better in life? I mean, I'll keep my contacts to myself. If anything, as I said to someone earlier, um, I started a what's the name group, a Facebook chat group, and basically anyone who joins the chat group, I basically just advertise, the products that from the contacts that I have from manufacturers in China, and basically, you can look there and get them instead of having to deal with pretentious models who think they don't need the money to help modeling, the products for my website. Maybe they're waiting for Victoria's Secrets to give them a phone call. Who knows? But we're definitely going to go and find some food in the kitchen, get something to eat, and let everybody here have a nice day, whatever you're going to be doing. I wish you all love, peace, and hair grease. If anyone has any more comments, questions, or complaints, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I definitely enjoyed, talking here with you for the past 2 hours. And if you don't have any more questions, I'm definitely going to go and get me something to eat, maybe come back later, after 1 o'clock, most likely. So it'll probably be like maybe 2 or 2:30. We could probably come back on the live and have your questions ready. Yeah, okay. I can come back, Valentine. Have your questions ready. All right. Again, it was nice talking to everyone here. Definitely waiting for your next stream. Happy 4th. Thank you very much, Herman. But I'm not celebrating the 4th of July because I don't want to celebrate 250 years of false independence when we're not. We're still in indentured servitude, and that's nothing to be happy about. When basically America's giving everyone this false illusion that we're over here free. Okay, Valentine. Well, we'll come back on and hopefully you'll be able to, partake in the live stream. But everyone else, I just want to wish you a happy day, and take care and goodbye. This is BA, compadre of the one and only Philly Dom, coming at you.